Hey everybody, what's up? It's Seth with SethPerler.com, and I'm glad you're here. And it is down to the wire again. Okay, it is the end of the school year, and if you are a middle school or a high school or a college student, and you're a bit stressed out, and you're someone whose school is not necessarily your forte, this video is for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you about some of the things that my students go through at the end of the school year, and give you a couple of ideas on what you can do to make this end of the school year go a little bit more smoothly. So I generally work with middle school, high school, and college students. And all of my students struggle with school in one way or another. And what tends to happen with a lot of students is that at the end of the school year, right now we've just got a couple of weeks, things can fall apart fast. And I'll explain why. Teachers often are doing their grades at the end of the year, and anything that's turned in late, they have to grade. And they have to go through everything that's turned in late from all their students, and some of these teachers have over 100 students. So they're like really backlogged with catching up with their work. Meanwhile, trying to finish out their year, plan their lessons, give their final assignments. And often at the end of the year, there are a couple of big things that really throw students off. And those are papers, tests, midterm tests or exams, and projects. Papers, tests, and projects. So your papers that are due, if you wait till the last minute, that puts you in a very tight position, because then if you don't finish or if you forget to turn it in, that can turn a grade of an A, B, C, or D into an F very easily. Final exams, if you don't study for them and you think you can just study the night before or the morning of, or you think you got it and you fail that exam, that can make you fail the class. And then projects. Oftentimes projects are due right up at the end of the year, and if you don't get the project done or forget to turn it in, well, there you go. There's another opportunity for an F and to bring the grade down. So if you're kind of a borderline student and you have a CD or an F anyway, and you're really depending on this last bit of time to be able to get your grade up, you have to be extra careful, and you have to work extra hard to get this stuff done. So I just see it a lot, and it's really hard to watch. A lot of my students and a lot of students in this place right now where it's the end of the year, my students often tend to be very unrealistic. They have to tend to have an unrealistic perception of how much effort or how much time something takes. So at this time, it's crunch time, right? It's down to the wire, and things get really tight, and it becomes more and more overwhelming. And things get avoided more and more, and then you can get into a bad position. Now, the consequences of this are often the following. One, if you fail a class, is taking summer school. Two is if you fail a class, having to retake it another year. You don't want to have to put another semester's worth of energy into this class. So if you can just really focus on what you have to do in the next week or so, please do that. Turn your video games off for the next week. Turn the cell phone off. Like, really get your study area ready. So anyhow, to get back to things that you can do, those are some things you can do. One, turn the cell phone off when you're studying. Two, use an internet blocker and block websites that you get distracted by. Three, tell people to not distract you. Tell your friends, hey, I gotta focus. I gotta set a boundary. Now, your brain, your adolescent brain, is not wired for prioritizing, okay? Just accept that and be like, okay, I'm not great at prioritizing, but right now is the time to do it. I'm gonna tell my friends to not bother me right now. I have to focus. Next, make study groups with friends that are strong students. Have times with them to study and to do homework, and set yourself up for success. Next, make sure that where you study is actually conducive to studying. It should not have distractions. You may need to really do a good modification, find a good place in the house where you can actually study. Make it happen. It'll take you some time, but you got to do that. So this is the time And do whatever you need to do. Like if a teacher gives you a study guide, use that study guide. Do not wait till the last minute. You want to study multiple times. It's better, let's say that you wanted to study for 3 hours for an exam. It's much better that you split that into 6 30-minute segments over 6 days than 3 hours the night before, because 3 hours the night before will not get it into long-term memory. But if you break it up, you'll get much more into long-term memory. Like I said, it's down to the wire, and I want to tell you where this word down to the wire comes from. So in horse racing, a long time ago, before they were able to have the technology to be able to see everything clearly, they would have judges who would watch the horse race and be able to see which horse went across the finish line first. Now this was very hard to see because when people stood in different places, it appeared that different horses could appear to be winning at different times, depending on where you were positioned. So there's the finish line, but it was very hard to see because they're running so fast. So what they did is they had the finish line, and then they had a wire that went way above the heads of the horses and the racers. And then the judges could stand by the wire and look down the wire to see which horse crossed first. So when it's down to the wire, that means that's a metaphor for things are getting really tight. It's really close. It's a high pressure situation, and the consequences are very high. So I just want to encourage you. I know that you're stressed. Okay? Take a breath, make some lists, get it out of your head and onto paper what you need to do. Take time to get organized. Ask for help. Ask parents, ask tutors, ask teachers. You can write letters to teachers proactively right now saying, hey, it's the end of the year. Do I have anything that I'm missing that's going to really affect my grade? That way you're being proactive. Teachers really, really respond to that. Go into office hours. Do anything you need to do to advocate for yourself so that you don't have to be in the situation of getting your grades in a couple weeks and saying, oh my gosh, how did I fail that class? What happened there? And then next thing you know, you're in summer school or retaking the class or whatever. And you put all this effort into this semester and you have to redo your effort. So you got this. Take it a day at a time, little chunk at a time, one little thing at a time. Get focused as you can. Eliminate distractions and just push forward. You got this. I know you do. If I could figure this stuff out when I finally ended up figuring it out, anybody can. So please use this advice. It will help you have a good end of the year and then have an awesome summer. I hope you have a great summer where you can really relax. Take care.